Welcome to Historical Class. In Episode 3, we step onto the rain-soaked streets and bomb-scarred skies of Britain in 1940, the moment when one man's voice became the last line of defense for freedom in Europe. Winston Churchill, the aging politician many had written off, the cigar-smoking orator with a penchant for whiskey and history, who turned Britain's darkest hour into its finest through sheer, unfiltered resolve. This is not a tale of invincible heroes. It's the story of how brutal honesty, personal vulnerability masked as unbreakable will, and words chosen like weapons can awaken a nation when surrender seems the only rational choice. The hour of maximum danger. Spring 1940. Nazi armies had swept through Poland, Denmark, Norway, the Low Countries, and France in weeks. The British Expeditionary Force barely escaped at Dunkirk, leaving behind most of its equipment. Italy joined the Axis. The Soviet Union was still bound by a pact with Hitler. America was neutral and distant. In London, the War Cabinet seriously discussed negotiating peace terms with Germany. Neville Chamberlain's policy of appeasement had collapsed. Into this vacuum stepped Churchill, 65 years old, a veteran of many political defeats, long ridiculed as a bellicose relic. On May 10th, he became Prime Minister. 3 days later, in his first speech to the House of Commons,
"I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat."
I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. No Churchillian flourish of victory parades, no promises of quick triumph, just the plain truth. This will be long, painful, costly, and we are going to do it anyway. The speeches that carried a nation. Churchill understood that in crisis, people do not need comforting lies. They need leaders who level with them and then point to a path forward. June 4th, 1940. We shall fight on the beaches. After the miracle of Dunkirk, which he openly called a colossal military disaster, he listed every conceivable place of battle, beaches, fields, streets, hills, and ended with the immortal line, "We shall never surrender." It reframed evacuation as moral victory and turned national humiliation into collective defiance. June 18th, 1940. This was their finest hour. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour. He broadcast directly to homes via radio. His gravelly, deliberate voice, sometimes slurred from drink or fatigue, carried an authenticity no polished announcer could match. He spoke as if addressing each listener personally, admitting the odds were grim, but insisting the spirit mattered more than the scoreboard. Rebirth in the Blitz. Churchill did not win the war single-handedly, but he preserved the will to fight when it was most fragile. He refused peace feelers, even when some in the cabinet saw them as realistic. He rallied a class-divided society into shared endurance, rich and poor alike in air raid shelters, factory workers and aristocrats digging for victory gardens. He kept Britain in the war long enough for allies to join. First, the Soviet Union after Barbarossa, then the United States after Pearl Harbor. By 1945, Britain was exhausted, bankrupt, and losing its empire, yet it emerged with its democratic identity intact and its moral standing elevated as the nation that never knelt. Sincerity as strategy. Churchill's power lay in refusing to pretend things were better than they were. To Parliament, you ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word: victory. Victory at all costs. To the people, he confessed privately to black moods and doubts, yet publicly projected iron determination. He made leadership human. Jokes in cabinet, visible emotion after losses, visible resolve in public. That candor disarmed cynicism. When a leader admits the abyss but still chooses to fight, people begin to believe they can cross it. The echo that endures. Historians still argue over his imperialism, his strategic mistakes, his personal flaws. But the verdict of 1940 to 1945 is clear. One voice helped tip the balance between collapse and survival. Churchill showed that when illusions shatter and defeat looms, the most powerful weapon is not optimism, it is defiant honesty, wrapped in unbreakable purpose. Why it matters beyond Britain. In any era of uncertainty, when institutions falter, when the easy path is retreat, Churchill reminds us, nations awaken not through promises of comfort, but through leaders willing to say the hard truth and then stand in the storm with their people. He gave Britain permission to be afraid and then showed it how to be brave anyway. Thanks for joining episode 3 of Historical Figures. If Churchill's roar across the airwaves moved you, hit subscribe for the next awakening. Who should we cover in episode 4? Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Martin Luther King Jr., Franklin D. Roosevelt, or another Western figure who turned crisis into rebirth? Drop your suggestions in the comments. Let's decide together.